Chapter 74-22. Very quickly, the group of people behind him quickly retreated. It's that simple? Yang Lingfeng exclaimed. Didn't I tell you before that this was a very useful trick? Di Beichen smiled faintly. If we were newcomers, we wouldn't have known about the Zheng clan's existence. These people aren't brainless either. They'll naturally figure it out. Zhong Limu immediately understood. This problem was solved without any effort. To think that he had been worried that a battle would break out later and had been comparing the strength of both sides. If they couldn't get rid of these people quickly, they would be in trouble. Who would have thought that they didn't need to do anything at all? With just a few words, the problem was solved. Wang Chongyun was also on the verge of breaking down. These people were too cowardly. They had just casually spouted a few lies and fooled these people. What kind of brains did they have? However, he also understood that these three people's cooperation was flawless. Gong Jun seemed to have realized this matter at the first moment, and said such words in a casual manner. Di Beichen was even more impressive. He said those words but didn't say which clan he belonged to. Generally speaking, if one wanted to intimidate the other party, they would have said that they were from the Zheng clan from the start. Until Bailey Hongzhuang said the name Zheng Sun. This was a chain of lies. It was hard not to believe. No wonder these people were so confident when they said that they were fooling people. They probably already had experience. Bai Lianche looked at Wang Chongyun happily. Brother Wang, you didn't lie to us. The Zheng clan really is a big clan here. Wang Chongyun wanted to vomit blood, but he could only smile stiffly. That's because we're grasshoppers on the same rope now. He was also very regretful. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have said that. This way we can save time faster. However, a batch of blood spirit stones slipped through our hands, Mo Yinjua said. The cultivators of the immortal domain were very rich. If they could get rid of these fellows, they would become even richer. Blood spirit stones were very helpful for cultivation, especially high-grade blood spirit stones. The elemental energy in them was very pure, so there was almost no need to spend too much effort to refine them. Cultivating with blood spirit stones would greatly increase one's cultivation speed. However, because they were too poor, they could not afford to use blood spirit stones directly to cultivate. Now that he had come to the celestial realm, all of this didn't seem so unattainable anymore. Don't worry. We'll have plenty of opportunities, Di Beichen said confidently. When the time comes, we'll have an endless supply of blood spirit stones. We'll break through as soon as possible. The gap between Qing Devil's cultivation and theirs was not too big. If they stayed outside, their cultivation speed would naturally be slower. But now that they had come to the immortal realm, the gap between them and Qing Devil had been reduced a lot. As long as he could obtain more cultivation resources, he might be able to take his revenge soon. Wang Chongyun rolled his eyes when he heard this. Although it was easier for cultivators in the immortal domain to obtain blood spirit stones, it was not as easy as it was on the street. A first-rank immortal actually said that he would have an endless supply of blood spirit stones. Wasn't he a little too arrogant? Even if he was the manager, he couldn't do that. End of chapter. Chapter 74-23. The cities in the celestial realm were not much different from those in the outside world. The biggest difference was that they were much larger than the cities in the realm of chaos. This was an extremely magnificent city. The wide roads made people seem especially small. There were also many pedestrians, and each of them had a different style. In this place, one could not judge a person's age by his or her appearance. The entire street seemed to be filled with young people. One could feel the rich energy fluctuations from them. Grand. This was the first feeling everyone had when they walked into the city. Whether it was the city walls or the shops on the streets, even some of the details revealed a grand and profound aura. Many cultivators were shuttling back and forth in the city. Sharp sword chi emanated from their swords, showing off their strength without any hesitation. Noticing this scene, everyone immediately became low-key and walked without looking sideways. In this place where there were as many powerhouses as there were clouds, even a glance could provoke the other party. Currently, they were simply the smallest team in this city. Not to mention provoking a team, even if they provoked a single person, it would probably be quite troublesome. Will the situation in the other 4 realms be better? Yang Lingfeng asked. If the situation was like this, it would be like surviving in the cracks. This was not something that could be solved just because you did not want to cause trouble. No one could say whether the other party would suddenly target you or not. It wasn't as if they hadn't experienced this kind of unexpected misfortune before. It will be better, but there are also many geniuses there, Wang Chongyan said. In fact, he had a deeper feeling than Di Baichen and the others. With his strength, almost everyone here could bully him. If it were not for the fact that life was so difficult, he would not have accepted such a mission. To be honest, they only had the chance to show off in the realm of chaos. In this realm of chaos, no one dared to offend them. No wonder Father told me not to be easily defeated. I've just arrived, and I'm already deeply affected. Yang Lingfeng sighed. He could be said to be a first-class genius in the realm of chaos since he could break through to the elementary celestial realm at his age. However, compared to the geniuses here, he was nothing. Just now, he had only taken a quick look, but he had already noticed that some of the cultivators with powerful auras were definitely much younger than him. The so-called geniuses from the realm of chaotic immortal were probably the weakest in the immortal realms. Take it easy. Their cultivation resources are better than ours. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Believe in yourself. Actually, she was also very shocked. Along the way, the speed of her breakthroughs was already not slow, but in the face of these geniuses, she was just a drop in the ocean. However, since he had already come to this place, he had to believe that he could rise to the top. She had met many geniuses before, but until the end, no one knew the result. He shouldn't be arrogant, but he still had to have his own pride. Yang Lingfeng nodded. That's true. We're going to the city to take a flying ritual tool to Liuxin City. It'll take a long time to get to Liuxin City, and it'll take at least a month to get there, Wang Chongyan said. So far. It's already fast enough. If we don't use flying artifacts, it'll take us several months to get there. How many blood spirit stones do we have to pay to take a flying ritual tool? Gong Jun quickly asked. 80. 80. Gong Jun raised his voice, and his expression became very ferocious. So expensive? The teleportation formation only costs 50. Chapter 74-24. That's not the same. The teleportation array was built by many experts and only needs to be maintained. It's public, but this flying artifact is privately owned, so it's a little more expensive. It's not just a little more expensive, it's a lot more expensive. Gong Jun looked gloomy. The teleportation array only takes a short while, but we have to cross so much distance. It'll take at least a month on this flying artifact, and they have the nerve to charge so much. Wang Chongyan's lips twitched. That's true, but there's nothing we can do about it. Profiteers. Gong Jun looked gloomy. 8 people means 640. We'll be poor in the blink of an eye. They'd thought that the several thousand blood spirit stones they'd obtained in the storage ring was already a good harvest, enough to last them for a while. They hadn't expected that they'd have to spend 1,000 in the blink of an eye. After calculating the travel expenses to the 4 great continents and possible expenses along the way, they wouldn't even have enough for travel expenses, would they? Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at each other. This price had indeed exceeded their expectations. It seemed that living in the immortal domain required a lot of money. Hey, don't tell me you don't have any at all? You'll pay for your own blood spirit stones. Gong Jun looked at Yi Sun. You came to the immortal domain to train yourself. You can't expect us to pay for everything. Hearing this, Zhongli Mu's expression changed. Gong Jun, Yi Sun is with us. So what if we're together? Gong Jun retorted. You and Yunjue are boss's friends, so you're naturally together. But this person appeared out of nowhere. Who knows if he's trustworthy? In any case, let him pay for it himself. Mo Yunjue frowned. Yi Sun helped us before. If he wanted to harm us, he would have done it earlier. Gong Jun chuckled. That's not necessarily true. Maybe you're not his target. Mo Yunjue's expression changed a little. He subconsciously looked at Di Baichen and Bailey Hongzhuang, but didn't say anything. As a friend, he believed in Yi Sun, but he couldn't make such a promise to Hongzhuang. Gong Jun, Bailey Hongzhuang had a complicated look in her eyes. Since we came together, she didn't know why Gong Jun would suddenly make things difficult for her. Her understanding of Yi Sun had only come from Yunju's introduction. She didn't know much about Yi Sun, but she believed that Yunju wasn't someone who couldn't tell right from wrong. Since he had become friends with Yi Sun, he must have his reasons. So what if we come together? Sister-in-law, Qing Devil is eyeing us covetously now. He has sent batches of people to us. No one knows whether he has sent more people. At a time like this, we should maintain a certain level of vigilance against all outsiders. Bailey Hongzhuang fell silent. What he said did make some sense. The people Qing Devil had sent were all brainless people. No one could guarantee that he didn't have other plans. They had known each other for a long time, so they naturally wouldn't have these problems. However, they had to be more vigilant against newcomers. Isn't it just a matter of paying for it ourselves? Yi Sun smiled. Gong Jun, you don't have to be so angry. I'll pay for it myself. Actually, I don't have any intention of taking advantage of everyone. The reason why we came together this time is because we wanted to explore the immortal region. However, it's really dangerous to come alone. That's why we shamelessly followed Yunju and the others. Chapter 74-25. If my appearance has affected you, then I'll just leave. Zhongli Mu couldn't help but say, Yi Sun is a pretty good person. I trust him. This place is so dangerous. You can't do it alone. I think we should go together. Even if we really have to split up, we should wait until we reach the 4 great continents. It's safer there. How about it? Mo Yunju asked. Let's leave it at that for now. Di Baichen slowly said, Gong Jun, you can't be sure that he's not a good person. If he doesn't have any ill intentions but is put in danger because of this, we'll all feel bad. Gong Jun looked at Yi Sun, then at Di Baichen. All right then. In any case, we don't have to pay for it. Looking at Gong Jun's smiling face, everyone wondered for a moment if this guy was doing it on purpose. Did he say so much not because he was worried about them being in danger, but because he wanted to save some money? Given Gong Jun's profiteering nature, this was not impossible. Under Wang Chongyun's lead, everyone arrived at the place where the flying artifact was. When they saw the giant flying artifact in front of them, shock surfaced on their faces. This giant artifact was much bigger than they had imagined. The flying artifact in front of them was like a small island. It was completely different from the flying artifacts they usually saw. The flying artifact landed on the ground, looking like an island on land. It was even taller than the buildings. In comparison, the originally majestic buildings became much smaller. At a glance, there were 7 or 8 islands. This is the first time I've seen such a large flying artifact. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed inwardly. It's so big and it consumes a lot of energy to fly. No wonder it requires so many blood spirit stones. To be able to create such a large flying artifact, the artificer's skill must be extremely high. Di Baichen narrowed his eyes. Generally speaking, the size of a flying magic tool could only accommodate a few people. The larger the size, the more difficult it would be to make because the principles involved were more complicated. The immortal region is a place where the elites gather. I believe that the outstanding artificers are also gathered here. Wang Chongyun took the lead and quickly found the flying magic tool to Liuxin City. After paying the blood spirit stones, everyone walked in one after another. Our luck isn't bad. This flying ritual tool will set off tomorrow. Everyone, go to your own rooms for now, Wang Chongyan said. Mo Yunjue looked around and said, The rooms here are divided into 2 grades? That's right, it's divided into superior and ordinary. The rooms we stayed in were ordinary rooms. As for those rich young masters or rich people, they would stay in the best rooms. The first-class rooms were larger and more comfortable. You also know that you don't have to stay on this flying magic tool for a day or 2, but for a month. Therefore, those who are well off want to live more comfortably. So that's how it is. Mo Yunjue understood. On the way here, he had noticed that the distances between the rooms were different. It was obvious that the first-class rooms were more spacious. If we have these blood spirit stones to waste, we might as well use them for cultivation. Gong Jun shook his head, looking like a miser. That's right, Yang Lingfeng agreed. Yang Lingfeng felt the same way. If he hadn't come with Bei Chen and the rest, he wouldn't have even reached his destination. Chapter 74-27. Yi Sun fell into deep thought. He had to find a way to gain everyone's trust. Otherwise, once they left Qingpeng continent, they would really have to part ways. Perhaps, it would be best if he could complete this mission before leaving Qingpeng continent. With the help of the rich origin power and blood spirit stones, Bailey Hongzhuang's speed of tempering her 5 fingers increased significantly. This was a process of quantitative change leading to qualitative change. Through the constant cleansing and solidification of origin power, the impurities in her 5 fingers were completely eliminated, making them stronger. She started tempering her index finger bit by bit, and after spending some time, she finally finished tempering a section of bone. After sensing it for a while, she noticed that this small piece of bone was filled with more power and was harder. The speed at which the origin power flowed through this piece of bone was also much faster than before. Looking at the surrounding walls, she really wanted to test how much more powerful her refined finger would be. However, when she thought about how she was currently in a flying magic tool, she could only suppress this thought for now. With the cost of this flying magic tool, if she damaged it even a little, she would have to pay a lot of money. If that happened, Gong Jun might even have the heart to kill her. Half a month passed in this kind of calm. Suddenly, a series of hurried knocks on the door made Bailey Hongzhuang come out of seclusion. When she opened the door, she saw Yang Lingfeng's excited expression. What's wrong? The others also came out of their rooms and looked at Yang Lingfeng in confusion. There's a big show up ahead. Let's go take a look. What's there to see about other people's show? Mo Yunjue said. We're new here, so it's best if we don't poke our nose into other people's business. This time, it's not really poking our nose into other people's business. There's someone pursuing a girl over there. He said that as long as he succeeds, everyone present will get 10 blood spirit stones. Although these 10 blood spirit stones might not be much to other people, it's enough for us to cultivate for a while. In any case, we're just here to watch the show. Why can't we go? Yang Lingfeng looked proud. If it weren't for the fact that I'm exchanging with Gong Jun today, I wouldn't have known that such a good thing would happen. Really? Zhong Limu was surprised. There are quite a few people up there. 10 blood spirit stones per person. That's quite generous. It should be those rich second generations. That's why they would pay such a high price to pursue women. We don't need to care so much. It's fine as long as there are benefits. Gong Jun was also very happy. His heart ached at the amount of money he had spent. 10 blood spirit stones per person meant that he had spent 80 blood spirit stones. Then let's go and have a look, Di Beichen said. This was their first time in the immortal domain, so there were many things they did not understand. Everything they knew came from Wang Chongyun, but none of them could be sure if this fellow was telling the truth. If he could take this opportunity to get to know another person, that would be great. But if he couldn't, then it wouldn't matter. Everyone walked towards the front of the flying artifact. The entire flying artifact was divided into 3 sections. The front section was the superior room, The back section was the ordinary room, and the middle section was the restaurant. Some exchanges would be held there. They had noticed this place when they came up earlier, but they had no intention of coming over. At their level of cultivation, it didn't matter if they didn't eat. It was more for the sake of appetite, or for the sake of improving their cultivation. Chapter 74-28. With the prices in the celestial realm, it was obvious how expensive it would be to dine here. Back then, he had only thought that the prices in the celestial realm were really high. If there was no comparison, there would be no harm. The prices in the celestial realm were really high. When they arrived, they realized that there were already many people gathered here. Among them, there were fewer cultivators in the first-class rooms. Most of them were from the ordinary rooms. At this moment, everyone was looking at the main character in the center. A man in a light blue robe was smiling at a woman in a pink dress in front of him. Facing the man's smile, the woman was slightly shy. At this moment, her head was lowered, so her eyes couldn't be seen clearly. Yulin, I am sincere to you. I hope you can accept me. The man's expression was sincere as he looked directly at the woman. His passionate gaze forced the woman to lower her head. Yulin, just say yes. Ruize has liked you for a long time. The man's friends all chimed in. Say yes. The man gave the crowd a look. The onlookers also shouted, Miss, just say yes. I hope this girl says yes. Otherwise, wouldn't we have come here for nothing? Gong Jun muttered softly. He didn't care whether she said yes or no. He only cared about whether he could get the blood spirit stones. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. She should say yes. That girl looks quite shy. If she really didn't like him, she would have left long ago. That means we'll just have to wait for the blood spirit stones. Just as they were talking, the woman softly said, N. Although the surroundings were noisy, the man still heard this reply clearly. He immediately happily pulled the woman into his arms. Yulin, it's great that you said yes. Li Ruize said happily. The woman's face was flushed, and her smile was sweet. She still didn't say anything. When everyone saw this scene, they all smiled happily. Lovers finally got married. Even if they were just here to watch the show, they were still happy to see this scene. Second brother, go distribute the blood spirit stones, Li Ruize said with a smile. Haha, good. Li Ruiyang laughed heartily. Everyone will receive 10 blood spirit stones. Come and receive your reward. Everyone walked towards Li Ruiyang. 10 blood spirit stones was neither too much nor too little. No one would refuse such a free gift. At this moment, a mocking voice rang out. Gung Yulin, you've just been dumped by my big brother, and now you're hooking up with someone else. I didn't see that you're so scheming. The originally lively atmosphere immediately cooled down with this sentence. Everyone subconsciously looked at the woman. The other party's words were clearly directed at her. Gung Yulin's face immediately turned pale. She looked at the man who had suddenly appeared in astonishment. Clearly, she did not expect that he would also be on this flying magic tool. If I didn't happen to be here, I wouldn't have known that you were so impressive. Qingjie, what are you doing? Li Ruize's expression also became cold. When he noticed the pale face of the woman in his arms, he couldn't help but feel his heart ache. Li Ruiyang, it's one thing for you to pick up my brother's broken shoes, but you're actually making such a big fuss about it. You really are not afraid of embarrassing yourself. Qingjie clicked his tongue and shook his head. Shut up. Li Ruize snorted coldly. Back then, your brother let you Lin down. You'd better not cause trouble here. Otherwise, I won't be polite. Chapter 74-29. Why should I shut up? Qingjie sneered. Aren't you trying to show off to us by making such a big fuss in front of so many people? Since you're showing off, we naturally can't miss this show. Otherwise, wouldn't it be a waste of your good intentions? I'm not interested in haggling with you. Li Ruize snorted coldly. Your Qing clan's matters are clear. I have no intention of haggling with you. Today is my happy day, and I don't want my mood to be affected because of you. Li Rui's, since you've picked up my brother's broken shoes, do you think this kind of situation will be rare in the future? We came out today to let you get used to it. Otherwise, if you're too thin-skinned, I don't think you'll be able to bear it in the future. Qing Jie, don't go too far. Gung Yulin's face was pale, but she still mustered up her courage. Back then, it was your brother who betrayed me and got together with another woman. What right do you have to talk about me now? Gung Yulin, what's my brother's status? It's your blessing that he's willing to marry you. I didn't expect you to be so petty. It's only right that my brother doesn't want you. What your brother wants to do is his business. What I don't want to do is mine. Now that I've cut off all ties with him, don't drag us together again. Looking at this scene, Bailey Hongzhuang more or less understood what was going on. It was obvious that Qing Jie and the others were pestering endlessly. Every time he opens his mouth, he's calling me broken shoes. This guy is really asking for a beating. Ling Er's eyes were full of disgust. Such words were a kind of insult to women, and to say it in front of so many people, it was obvious that he wanted to embarrass the two of them. This guy is called Qing Jie. Could he be related to the Qing devil? Di Beichen said in a deep voice. The surname Qing was not common. The cultivators on this flying artifact were all heading to Liuxin City, but the other party's surname was Qing. Perhaps he really was related to the Qing devil. He should be a member of the Qing clan. Wang Chongyan said. Qing clan is also a relatively large force in Luxian City. When Qing Ling was still alive, Qing clan was one of the few peak forces. However, the Qing devil disappeared and Qing Ling never came back after she went out for training. Therefore, the influence of the Qing clan gradually decreased. After the Qing devil came back a few days ago, there are signs of recovery. They have become much more arrogant recently. The people of the Qing clan are really jackals of the same tribe. No matter how I look at them, they're so annoying. Bai Li Yanche shook his head. This kind of action was obviously looking for trouble. Bailey Hongzhuang narrowed her phoenix eyes. We are really fated to meet the Qing clan. We haven't even reached Liuxin City, and we've already bumped into them. How many experts does the Qing clan have? The Qing clan has been in the immortal realms for many years. Naturally, they would have some experts. As for exactly how many experts they have, I'm not sure. Most of them should be at the first or second stage. There should be some 6th-stage experts as well. It is said that Qing Ling is an 8th-stage expert. However, he hasn't appeared for a long time. No one knows where he went. In fact, these large forces have always been hiding their strength. Aside from some of the strength they show on the surface, there might be some hidden strength. This is to guard against accident. I'm just the most ordinary person in my clan. I don't know much about these situations. Wang Chongyun looked embarrassed. Of course, he didn't want to admit this, but it was useless to deny it now. Chapter 74:30. Although he had stayed in Liuxin City for a long time, he didn't know much about the upper echelons. Everything he heard was hearsay. Everyone understood Wang Chongyun's situation. It wasn't easy for someone at the bottom to understand these things. It was enough to confirm that Qing Jie was one of Qing Devil's men. In any case, they had no intention of fighting with the Qing clan. It wasn't wise to fight a stone with an egg. If they were given some time, they would definitely be able to change the situation in the future. While everyone was talking, Li Rui's had already left with Gung Yulin. He didn't want to waste any more time talking to Qing Jie. This guy had deliberately come today to pick a fight. If he continued to cause trouble, Gung Yulin would be in the worst position. Li Rui's didn't want that to happen. However, with Li Rui's and the others leaving, they naturally couldn't get their hands on the blood spirit stone. It can't be, right? These bastards could have appeared at any other time, but they just had to appear now. They made it so that we couldn't even get the blood spirit stones. Gong Jun's face was full of anger. Anyone who blocked his path to wealth was an enemy. Yang Lingfeng's expression was also very ugly. It wasn't easy to come across such a good thing. I didn't expect the cooked duck to fly away just like that. It's too depressing. Qing Jie noticed this scene and became even more proud. Li Rui's is really going all out. For a woman like this, he became a laughingstock. When we get to the city, there will be a good show to watch. The people living in the ordinary rooms also knew that Qing Jie wasn't someone to be trifled with. They had come for the blood spirit stone. Now that the main character had left, it was useless for them to stay. They might as well leave and avoid getting into trouble. That would be even worse. As everyone left, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others became very conspicuous. Qing Jie kept feeling a burning gaze on him. He couldn't help but turn his head to look at the source of this gaze. When he looked over, he saw a fatty staring straight at him. "Fatty, what are you looking at me for?" Qing Jie's expression instantly turned cold, and he spoke with a bossy tone. Yang Lingfeng's body stiffened. "No way? How did this guy notice it? Since you took my blood spirit stone, you must spit it out." Gong Jun gnashed his teeth. Hearing this, Zhongli Mu couldn't help but feel anxious. "Gong Jun, don't be too impulsive. The other party is stronger than us. If we fight on this flying artifact, we won't even be able to escape. If they were outside, even if they really attacked, they might still have a chance to escape. But here, there was no hope at all." However, just as Zhongli Mu was feeling anxious, he saw Gong Jun suddenly walk up to him with a smile. "With all due respect, may I know if young master is from the Qin clan?" Qing Jie raised his eyebrows. "So what if I am?" "It is indeed the Qin clan." Gong Jun had a look of sudden realization, and every slight change in his expression was filled with surprise. Seeing young master's elegant demeanor and imposing aura, I knew that it must be someone from the Qin clan who has such strength of character. It is truly admirable. Qing Jie originally thought that Gong Jun was staring at him because he had some opinions about what he had done. He was caught off guard by this flattery. After being stunned for a moment, he revealed a comfortable smile. He really enjoyed this flattery. As for Zhongli Mu, who was worried that Gong Jun would be too impulsive, the corner of his mouth twitched. His expression was very strange. Chapter 74-31. This guy didn't play by the rules at all. Just a moment ago, he said that he wouldn't let them off, but in the blink of an eye, he started to flatter them. They didn't even have time to react, and almost couldn't control their facial expressions. What is Gong Jun trying to do? Ling asked through sound transmission. Looking at his bright smile, I have a feeling that it's not something good. With his personality of loving money as much as his life, he probably wants to get all the money back, Bailey Hongzhuang said with a faint smile. Since we've already met, we have to leave something behind. They were indeed no match for the Qin clan's headquarters, but they might have a chance to deal with a few people. Moreover, this Qing Jie was so arrogant, so he must have some capital. If they could really get rid of this fat sheep, then they would definitely gain a lot. "Fatty, you don't look familiar. Which clan are you from?" At this moment, Qing Jie also found Gong Jun more pleasing to the eye, and his tone was no longer as disdainful as before. "Young master, this is my first time going to Liuxin City, so I don't look familiar to you." "First time going to Liuxin City? I heard that Liuxin City's Qin clan is very powerful, especially after Lord Qing Devil returned. When I first heard about the Qin clan, I have always admired them. This time, I mustered up my courage to come. Young Master Qing, I heard that the Qin clan is currently recruiting some cultivators. Do I have a chance?" Gong Jun rubbed his hands embarrassedly, looking very shy, but his eyes were full of expectation. "I know that my current strength is still a bit too weak, but don't worry, as long as I can join, I will definitely cultivate well and pledge my loyalty to you." Wang Chongyun had mentioned the Qin clan's recruitment of cultivators before, but no one had thought about it. They didn't expect Gong Jun to suddenly bring it up at this moment. "So you want to join my Qin clan?" Qing Jie chuckled, his head slightly raised, and his expression became more and more proud. Our Qing clan is indeed doing well now, and our status in Liuxin City isn't bad. Although some people don't like us and we have hindered Master Qing Devil's business, it's not a big deal. When Lord Qing Devil wakes up, he will become even more powerful. At that time, those guys can only watch helplessly. From what I see, your strength is indeed a little lacking, but it's rare for you to have such good eyesight, so I'll take you in. Qing Jie patted Gong Jun's shoulder. This kind of thing, to me, is just a matter of a sentence. Thank you, young Master Qing. Gong Jun's face was filled with joy as he hurriedly bowed in gratitude. Then, he looked towards Bailey Hongzhuang and the others and said, "These are the friends who came with me this time. All of us have the intention to join the Qing clan." So many people? Qing Jie glanced at the crowd and frowned slightly. There were 8 of them. I'm not. I'm a member of the Wang clan. Wang Chongyan said. Gong Jun noticed Qing Jie's expression and understood his thoughts. He hurriedly said, "We originally planned to go to the Wang clan, but I know that my strength is definitely not enough to go to the Qing clan. I just wanted to find a place to settle down temporarily and go there when I'm stronger in the future. I didn't expect that I would be so lucky to meet young Master Qing. That's why I got such a great opportunity." As he spoke, Gong Jun looked at Wang Chongyan again. "Brother Wang, I'm really sorry this time. But you already know that I've always wanted to go to the Qing clan." Chapter 74-32. Looking at Gong Jun's sincere expression, Wang Chongyun was speechless. Pretentious. You're really good at pretending. On the surface, he still pretended to understand. I understand. So it's the Wang clan. Qing Jie dragged out his words. They had little contact with the Wang clan, and there was no grudge or deep friendship between them. However, the fatty's words undoubtedly raised the status of their clan, which made him very happy. Since you're so loyal to my Qing clan will naturally accept all of you. Except for the one from the Wang clan, all of you can join us. Qing Jie said heroically. Thank you, young Master Qing. Everyone bowed. Do your best in the future. When we arrive at Liuxin City, follow me. Young Master Qing, after we arrive, we have to go to the Wang clan and report to the Qing clan. Is that okay? Gong Jun smiled. Previously, we spent a lot of effort to find a place to stay. Now that we're going, we have to report to them. Qing Jie waved his hand. All right, when the time comes, go to the Green Rain Pavilion in the east and look for me. Just report my name. Yes, yes. Thank you, young Master Qing. Under Gong Jun's gratitude, Qing Jie returned to his residence. When the others saw that Gong Jun had found a good place to stay with just a few words of flattery, they were secretly surprised. This guy was also good at talking. To be able to do this with just a few words, it didn't seem like much, but thinking about it carefully, it wasn't easy at all. This guy is really lucky. The Qing clan is no longer the same as before. Although the Qing devil is injured, he's still recovering. I'm afraid that the Qing clan will regain its glory in the future. I heard that the Qing clan's recruitment requirement is to be at least the first stage. Look at that fatty. He just broke through to the elementary immortal realm. There's still a while before he reaches the first stage, but he was accepted by the Qing clan as an exception. How extraordinary! This kind of fellow only knows how to bootlick. If he really went to the Qing clan, without any strength, wouldn't he only be bullied? Gong Jun ignored the group of people who were either jealous or looking down on him. He immediately returned to his residence with everyone. Those fellows from the Qing clan are really disgusting. They actually dared to pat my shoulder. I don't want these clothes anymore. Gong Jun said with a look of disgust. Wang Chongyan couldn't help but sigh in amazement at Gong Jun's sudden change in attitude. He finally understood why Gong Jun was so confident when he talked about impersonation. Turned out that this was what this guy was best at. Didn't you have a smooth time flattering him just now? Smooth what? Gong Jun had a look of disgust. I was just suppressing the urge to vomit. This brat dared to take 80 blood spirit stones from us. When the time comes, we will have the Qing family pay him back several times over. Otherwise, how could we let this go? His Master Gong's money isn't that easy to cheat. Everyone. In the following half a month, everyone spent their time cultivating. During this time, Gong Jun also came to look for Di Baichen and Bailey Hongzhuang to discuss matters after arriving at Liuxin City. Since they were already here and happened to meet the people from the Qing clan, they couldn't just do nothing. Even if it was just collecting some interest, it would be good. Finally, the flying artifact landed. The group of cultivators walked out of their rooms. They had arrived at Liuxin City. Chapter 74-33. After the cultivators in the superior rooms left the flying magic tool, Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest also walked down. Gong Jun's sharp eyes noticed Qing Jie, and he immediately walked over with a face full of smiles. Young Master Qing, we'll be done with this matter very soon, and then we'll report in. Qing Jie looked at Gong Jun with satisfaction. Although this kid's strength was not much, he was quite smart and knew how to talk. Call me young Master Jie, Qing Jie said. Yes, young Master Jie. You guys go ahead. I will inform them when I get back. Just say my name and someone will make the arrangements. Thank you, young Master Jie. After Qing Jie and the rest left, Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest walked to a secluded corner and changed their appearances to those guys who died in their hand. The moment they stepped into the immortal domain, they had already changed their appearances. Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling Er's appearances were outstanding, and they might get into some trouble in the Green Puff continent. Their strength was already worrying, and if there were other twists and turns, they might really be wiped out at any time. However, it was also fortunate that they did so. Otherwise, Gong Jun's move would not have been of any use. Wang Chongyun, where are we going to report the news? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Along the way, we can be considered half a friend. As long as you can help us with this matter, I will give you the antidote and treat it as if nothing happened. If you play tricks on this matter, even if we are all wiped out, you will definitely not be able to get away with it. Wang Chongyun looked at everyone's expression and nodded slightly. I understand what you mean. Since things have come to this, I have no other thoughts. He could already tell that these guys were extremely daring. If he did not guess wrongly, these people must be planning to go to the Qing family and cause a ruckus. He had nothing to do with the Qing family. He just took on this mission, and it was not worth it to cause so much trouble. Can you guarantee that you won't kill me after this matter is over? We will do what we promised, Di Baichen said. Telling them the truth won't do you any good. I don't think you'll take the unnecessary risk. Wang Chongyun narrowed his eyes. Over the last few days, he had thought about this many times. As long as the other party gave him the antidote, he naturally would not do anything unnecessary. The Qing clan was not a kind clan to begin with. If this matter were to spread out, Di Baichen and the others would have already run away. On the contrary, it was very likely that he would be the one in trouble. All right, I'll believe you this time. Gong Jun chuckled. Brother Wang, there's no need to be nervous. It's just a small matter, something that can be solved with just a few words. I'll take you to Qing Xiang. He'll give us the reward. Wang Chongyun looked at Di Baichen. Yang Xiao is the one in charge of accepting the mission this time. You and Qing Xiang will be the ones to negotiate. In fact, the Qing family did not take this matter to heart. When they accepted the mission, it was very simple. I don't think they will ask too many questions. Everyone nodded slightly. It was undoubtedly a simple matter for the people of the Immortal Domain to deal with the City Lord of the Chaotic Immortal Domain. No one thought that there would be any accidents in this matter. Naturally, they would treat it as if it was done casually. Wang Chongyun explained everything he knew in detail. After grasping everything, he went to look for Qing Xiang. Only then did they know that the Qing family was indeed a very powerful force in Lu Xian City. Just this entrance alone had 4 entrances: north, south, east and west. This place was mainly responsible for trivial matters. Chapter 74-34. The core area of the Qing clan was naturally the central area. However, not everyone could enter and leave as they pleased. Only the core members could enter and leave this area. Previously, Qing Jie was in the east while Qing Xiang was in the south. There was a certain distance between the two places. It seemed like they were not very close to each other. This made everyone feel more at ease. Although they had changed their appearance and aura, they still had to be careful of the possibility of being exposed. It was inevitable that someone would notice them if they appeared in the same place. It was better for them to not appear in the same place. We are here to look for Qing Xiang. At the southern gate of the Qing clan, Di Baichen looked at the guard and said the purpose of their visit. He took out a waist token. After the guard saw it, he understood. Please wait for a moment. Soon, the man opened the gate and led them inside. Along the way, everyone was observing the situation of the Qing clan. It was indeed a big clan. They were quite capable. Bailey Hongzhuang understood. The reason why Qing Ling left the Qing clan and disappeared for so many years was probably to hide from the deputy pavilion master. If he stayed in the Qing clan, the deputy pavilion master might not kill Qing Ling. However, the Qing clan's foundation would be destroyed. Only when Qing Ling left and allowed the Qing clan to develop freely, the Qing clan would have room to survive. Qing Ling seemed to have planned everything out for Lin Fan. Now that the Qing clan's foundation was under Qing Devil's charge, Xiao So should be in the middle of the Qing clan. You are here. A man walked over slowly. Without saying anything, he led everyone into the house. This mission was quite embarrassing. If it were not for Xiao So's strong request, the Qing clan would not have done such a thing. If this matter were to spread, the entire Qing clan would be humiliated. After the door was closed, the man said, "It's done. It's done. Have you dealt with those people?" Di Baichen said casually, "It's just a city lord mansion in the chaotic immortal realm. It's not that powerful. I took care of it easily." Qing Xiang nodded slightly. "Well done. This is also a lucrative job for you. You just have to spend some time on the road. It doesn't take much effort at all. This is your reward this time." Qing Xiang took out a storage bag and handed it to Di Baichen. "Regarding this matter, the few of you better keep your mouths shut. Don't reveal even the slightest bit of information. If the news gets out, all of you will be finished." "Don't worry, Brother Xiang. We won't say a word," said Di Baichen. Only then did Qing Xiang withdraw his gaze, but he unconsciously glanced at the Qiankuan bag again. This matter was indeed a fat job, and it did not take much effort at all. The reward was also quite good. If it wasn't for the fact that it wasn't suitable for him to step in, he would have done it himself. Di Baichen immediately took out some blood spirit stones from the Qiankuan bag and handed them to Qing Xiang. "Brother Xiang, this is to show filial piety to you." Qing Xiang's eyes lit up, but he raised his eyebrows. "Show filial piety to me? This is such a good job. If Brother Xiang didn't think of us, how could we be so relaxed? Don't worry, we won't say a word about this matter. We will rot in our stomachs." A satisfied smile appeared on Qing Xiang's face. "You're smart. I'll accept it then. Brother Xiang, we'll take our leave first. Go." Chapter 74-35. After leaving the Qing residence, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Although they thought that things would go smoothly, they couldn't help but worry that something might go wrong. Fortunately, nothing went wrong and everyone could finally relax. "This is the antidote." Bailey Hongzhuang handed the antidote to Wang Chongyun. "We won't go back on our word." Wang Chongyun was still in disbelief as he stared at the antidote. In truth, he had already thought about it. If his foe really wanted to kill him now, then in front of so many people, he would drag them down with him no matter what. "We'll keep the rewards for the others. This is yours." Di Baichen also handed the cultivation resources to Wang Chongyun. We've known each other for a long time. I hope you won't cause any more trouble. Happiness came too suddenly. Wang Chongyun was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect these people to be so nice. Not only did they give him the antidote, they even gave him the cultivation resources this time. We also know that your situation in the Wang clan isn't too good. If not, we wouldn't have specially made a trip to the realm of chaotic immortals just to earn some cultivation resources. We still have other things to do. Take care. Take care. Wang Chongyun watched the departing figures with complicated emotions. Everyone who had gone this time had already died, and he was the only one still alive. Moreover, he had even obtained the reward. He had probably used up all the luck he had in his life on this. Hong Zhuang, is the antidote you gave him real? Yang Lingfeng couldn't help but ask. It's real. Bailey Hong Zhuang replied. Although I don't think the Qin clan will investigate this matter in the future, it's inevitable that everyone who went this time has disappeared. It's inevitable that they will feel a little strange. At least one person is still alive, so they will feel more at ease. Aren't you worried that he'll tell the truth later? I don't think he's an idiot. He knows what to do in this situation. Besides, we're not leaving this place immediately. I've already sent Xiao Bai to keep an eye on him. As long as there's no abnormality, we can feel at ease, Di Baichen said. Yang Lingfeng heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. Then, are we going to report to the Qin clan now? Zhongli Mu asked with interest. Gong Jun nodded. Of course. It wasn't easy for me to take on this task. I can't miss it just like that. Otherwise, wouldn't my previous flattery be in vain? What are your plans? Mo Yunju asked. We'll talk about it when we get there. Let's understand the situation first and find out some useful information at the same time. If we can earn some blood spirit stones in the future, that would be even better. In any case, before we leave, we might as well blow this matter up as much as we can. Even if we can't take revenge now, we have to make the Qin clan a laughingstock for a while. Gong Jun narrowed his eyes and smiled slightly, revealing the nature of a profiteer. He had always been the one scheming against others. Last time, everyone had suffered such serious injuries. It was a pity that he was not present. Since he had come this time, he would not let these despicable fellows off so easily. Then it's decided. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly. She was also very much in favor of this decision. Their strength was indeed at the bottom, but there were many cultivators like the Qin clan. Presumably, after they entered, they would not attract too much attention. They might even have a chance to do something. After asking around, they successfully arrived at their destination. Chapter 74-36. Who are you people? We were recruited by young Master Jie. Gong Jun's face was full of smiles. Did young Master Jie mention this before? Young Master Jie. The guard was startled, then immediately recalled. I know, young Master Jie did mention this when he came back. I didn't expect it to be you guys. Fatty, you guys have just broken through to the elementary immortal stage not long ago, right? To be able to come to our Qin family, you guys are quite capable. Hee hee, you flatter me. I was just lucky, how could I be capable? Young Master Qin only took pity on us, so he took us in out of compassion. How could we compare to you, brother? You're the one who's truly capable. The guard was originally unhappy with Gong Jun. This guy did not have much strength, but he could make young Master Qin look at him differently. Now that he heard this, the unhappiness in his heart instantly disappeared. You guys go in and find the manager. Young Master Jie has already given instructions. He'll arrange good jobs for you. Thank you very much. After we settle down, I'll definitely treat you to a drink. When the time comes, I hope you'll give me some face. Haha, no problem. After walking into the residence, Gong Jun's face instantly fell. This damned guy, he actually dared to look down on him. Sooner or later, he would let this guy know what kind of person Lord Gong was. I suddenly understand why Gong Jun was able to progress so smoothly even though he had no intention of cultivating. Bai Li Yanche suddenly realized. This guy is only in the business world. If he were in the government, who could compare to him? Just based on his ability to lie through his teeth and bootlick, ordinary people could not compare to him at all. If we want to open a path in this immortal region, I'm afraid we'll have to rely on Gong Jun's mouth. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. In the past, Fang Che had always been very good at gathering information with his face. Now that he had Gong Jun, he was even better than him in this aspect. You guys, are you newcomers? Suddenly, a loud voice rang out in front of them. They saw a man arranging for the others. After noticing them, a strange expression appeared on his face. You must be the steward, right? Gong Jun walked over with a smile. The steward looked at Gong Jun suspiciously. I'm the steward. Who are you? Just by looking at your imposing manner, I knew that you must be a steward. How could anyone else have such an imposing manner? Gong Jun smiled. We were recruited by young Master Jie. The steward understood. So it's you guys. Young Master Qing has already informed us. I see that the few of you are quite clever. It just so happens that a few of the guards have gone out to handle some matters, so the few of you can take their places. There will be someone to explain to you about your shift. There is also a special place to collect your cultivation resources every month. You just need to bring your own waste token. As for you two women, you will be in charge of the kitchen for the time being. The kitchen will not be busy every day. It's just that there will be banquets or special occasions where demonic beast meat needs to be cooked. At that time, someone will inform you in advance. You can do whatever you want on normal days. After hearing the steward's arrangements, the surrounding people looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others enviously. These tasks were already considered very good. Generally speaking, the people who were just recruited were in charge of the worst jobs. This kind of task was not theirs at all. Chapter 74-37. Under the arrangement of the steward, Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger lived in the women's area, while the others lived in the men's area. Originally, the distance between them was quite far. However, after Gong Jun fawned on them and gave them gifts, their accommodations were arranged closer. The environment was quiet and there were not many people around. Qing Jie also came over after knowing that Gong Jun and the others had arrived. Being a bodyguard is a good job. Do it well. As long as you do it well, you will definitely be successful in the future. Thank you, young Master Jie, for your promotion. Gong Jun was full of smiles. Don't worry. We will follow your orders in the future. If you ask us to go east, we will never go west. What are you talking about? Qing Jie's expression became serious. Since we have come to the Qing family, we naturally have to listen to Lord Qing Devil. Gong Jun was originally a shrewd person. When he saw Qing Jie say these words, although there was a hint of reprimand, there was clearly not the slightest bit of dissatisfaction in his eyes. On the contrary, he was very happy. It was only because of the surface that he reprimanded. Yes, yes. Gong Jun nodded repeatedly. Of course we have to listen to Lord Qing Devil. However, how can small people like us have the opportunity to meet Lord Qing Devil? Being able to serve young Master Jie is already a blessing for us. Qing Jie's lips curled into a smile. He patted Gong Jun's shoulder, and the satisfaction in his eyes was obvious. I have faith in you. If you need anything in the future, come to me. Thank you, young master. Qing Jie talked for a while before leaving. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others finally understood that Qing Jie wanted to hear flattery. That was why he stayed here for so long. Gong Jun, I really admire your eloquence. I feel that if you go on like this, Qing Jie will directly accept you as his confidant. Bai Li Yanche sighed. His strength was not a bluff. In his opinion, there were many people here who wanted to curry favor with Qing Jie, but none of them had the ability to do so. Gong Jun blinked his eyes complacently. Isn't this better? Seeing that Qing Jie thinks highly of me, these guys will not make things difficult for us. It will be more convenient for us to do things. That's true. Let's not be in a hurry for the time being. Let's spend a few days to learn more about the situation here and get some information about Qing Devil. After confirming that Wang Chongyun has no other actions, we will find an opportunity. Di said slowly. Understood. There were too many things that they did not know about in this unfamiliar place. They could not ignore the Qing clan just because of Qing Devil. As one of the major forces in Liuxin City, the Qing clan did not fall into a disadvantageous position during the years when Qing Devil and Qing Ling were not around. It was clear that everything here was very orderly and carried out step by step. If they acted rashly without understanding anything, they would be the ones in danger. Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger were also called to familiarize themselves with the kitchen. Usually they would not cook much, so everyone could do their own things in peace. However, once things got busy, they would be very busy. Previously, the two people in the kitchen had broken through and went to do other work. The two of them took over the vacancy. Originally, the other party did not believe in Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger. However, after seeing the two's cooking skills, they were immediately satisfied. As long as they knew how to cook, there would be no problem. Moreover, the two of them were very good at cooking. Chapter 74-38. Inside the house. Thanks to Gong Jun, things went pretty smoothly for us today. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled as she looked at the cultivation resources they had just received. They were quite abundant. Although they were new cultivators and were given the most basic treatment, they were still given dozens of blood spirit stones. These were high-grade blood spirit stones, not the low-grade and middle-grade blood spirit stones from the chaotic immortal domain. With these blood spirit stones and the rich origin energy here, their cultivation speed would definitely be much faster. At least there are dozens of blood spirit stones. That's not bad. Ling revealed a satisfied expression. It's just that Qing Jie lives quite far from us. If Gong Jun wants to make a move on him, I'm afraid it will be somewhat difficult. I don't think Gong Jun's target is him. Ling was stunned. Didn't Gong Jun come here because this guy made us lose dozens of blood spirit stones? Gong Jun is a person who doesn't wake up early if there's no profit. Qing Jie has some status here, so his wallet is naturally richer than the others. However, where do you think is the richest place here? Where? The central area? Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head. We can't enter the central area. We can't go in openly, and we can't go in secretly with our strength. Therefore, the richest place in the east is the resource vault. Ling was stunned for a moment before her eyes widened. You mean you want to rob the resource vault? Today, she looked very carefully. The resources in the warehouse were very rich. Originally, they were poor, but as long as they could get their hands on these things, they would become rich in an instant. The most important resources of the Qing family were in the central area. However, as a branch, they had a lot of resources too. Is there a point in robbing other places? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows slightly, and the smile on her lips revealed a hint of playfulness. Since we're already here, we have to do something big. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worthwhile. She thought it over and over again. Since she was already here, she had to leave an unforgettable memory for Qing Devil and Xiao So. When the time came, just thinking about the other party's reaction made her feel very amused. Ling looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in disbelief and said, Hongzhuang, you've become bad. When Bei Chen was talking to Qing Xiang earlier, I realized that Bei Chen had become more cunning. He is so good at deceiving people. I didn't expect that even you have changed. This is called, one is marked by the company one keeps. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. She felt that this change was quite good. They were the most insignificant group of people in the immortal region. If they were not clever and cunning enough, it was very likely that they would suffer a great loss. Opportunism was not a bad thing at this time. For 3 consecutive days, because there was nothing to do, Bailey Hongzhuang simply cultivated in the room. Through tempering, she could clearly feel that she had improved. Even if it was not easy to temper a complete arm, this feeling that she was getting stronger every day was really good. They were originally in the kitchen. If there was no need, it was not suitable for them to move around casually. However, Di Beichen and the others were much more convenient. As guards, they needed to patrol other places. It just so happened that it was their turn for the first shift. In addition, Gong Jun and Yen Che were very good at closing the gap between them. With just a few words, they had already reached a consensus with everyone. They also learned a lot of information about the Qing family. So you're here for Qing Devil. No wonder. Chapter 7439. Lord Azure Demon is indeed a very capable person. In the years that he disappeared, the Qing clan had indeed become slightly weaker. However, now that Lord Azure Demon is back, the situation will definitely improve. Just wait and see. Once Master wakes up, no one will dare to offend our Qing family in Liuxin City. The vice-captain of the guards had a smile on his face, and there was a look of worship on his face. You are new here. I heard that young Master Jia thinks highly of you. I believe you will have a bright future. Master Qing Devil is in a coma? Di Beichen pretended to be puzzled and asked. The vice-captain nodded slightly. This matter is actually not a secret. The whole Qing family already knows about it. But this news can't be spread out. What exactly is going on? We don't know the details, but we heard from the doctor that Master Qing Devil had some problems when he tried to take over the body. As a result, his recovery speed was very slow. But this time, as long as he wakes up, these problems will disappear. This means that Master will soon regain his original reputation. The rise of our Qing family is just around the corner. I heard that Master Qing Devil went out this time to solve this problem. He must have gone to some place to gain experience. Without destruction, there can be no construction. Because of this, he was seriously injured. As expected of Master Qing Devil, he is so cruel to himself that he can achieve so much. Gong Jun rolled his eyes. The Qing Devil was obviously beaten up by his own boss. He fled in a hurry because he was seriously injured. He was obviously a stray dog, but he still thought of himself as a hero. This guy was really shameless. Even Gong Jun felt embarrassed to make up such a lie. Looking at this group of idolizing fools in front of him, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. If these guys knew the truth, what kind of expression would they have? That would be really interesting. Fatty, what's with your expression? The vice-captain asked in confusion. Gong Jun quickly adjusted his facial expression and said, I really hope that Master Qing Devil can wake up soon. I have always admired him. That's why I traveled thousands of miles to Liuxin City. Seeing Gong Jun's face full of reverence, everyone's faces also revealed smiles. Don't worry. It's just a matter of time. In addition, Di Beichen and the others inquired about some other news in a roundabout way. For example, Xiao Sou's current situation and how long Qing Ling had been away. They wanted to know more about the enemies of the Qing family. As the saying goes, the enemy of one's enemy is one's friend. He heard that there were quite a few people in the immortal realms who didn't get along well with the Azure Demon. When he returned, he was targeted by quite a few people. If he could figure out who these people were, it might not necessarily be useless in the future. However, no one was in a hurry to figure out the situation in one day. They just pretended to be puzzled and asked some questions. Everyone just thought that they were new here and were full of curiosity about everything. They were not on guard and explained the situation one by one. 7 days later, everyone gathered together. We have learned some things. The Qing Devil is still in a coma. Xiao Sou has been guarding him. However, she hasn't gained the trust of the other members of the Qing family. Because of the Qing Devil's previous attitude, everyone knows that the child is the Qing Devil's child. As for whether to accept this woman, everyone is still a little hesitant. Everything will be decided after the Qing devil wakes up. Chapter 7440. We were right. It was Xiao Sou's decision to send someone to deal with Castellan Bai, Di Baichen said. Qing devil was still in a coma, so he couldn't have made this decision. Therefore, Xiao Sou was the only possibility. Xiao Sou. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed, and a cold light flashed in her eyes. This woman had used all kinds of dirty tricks to deal with them. Qing devil's henchmen tolerated Xiao Sou because of the baby, but they didn't admit that she was the mistress of the immortal palace. It's said that Qing devil has several women who are very favored by him. They are also dissatisfied with Xiao Sou's appearance. I think it's not easy for Xiao Sou to stay in the mistress's position, Bai Li Yanche said. Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger didn't find it strange. Qing devil was still interested in Xiao Sou under such circumstances. It was obvious that he was not a man who could stand loneliness. Come to think of it, he and Qing Ling were the same kind of people. They would always have a lot of women around them. Xiao Sou always thought that she could live a peaceful life after finding Qing devil. In fact, it was just a dream. If it weren't for the baby, Qing devil and his henchmen wouldn't care about Xiao Sou at all. However, with her cultivation level, I'm afraid it's not easy for her to fight with the women here. After Qing devil wakes up, the problem of possession will be solved. By then, his strength will improve a lot. It won't be as easy for us to deal with him, Mo Yunjua said. It's okay. The immortal realm is very big. Let's go to other continents first. Qing devil won't be able to find us in a short time, Di Baichen said calmly. He didn't know how high Qing devil's level was before. But even if she had recovered, it would take some time, which meant that they had something to develop. Besides, the Qing devil was in the light while they were in the dark. As long as they were careful, it wouldn't be easy for the Qing devil to find them. There were so many forces here, and they weren't just sitting around doing nothing. What the Qing clan could easily do in the chaotic immortal realm was not so easy in the immortal realm. I also heard that the relationship between Lu family, Li family, and Qing family isn't very good in Lu Heart City. Previously, they didn't get along because of some matters. However, there are many forces in Lu Heart City, and their roots are intertwined. Presumably, they were worried that others would come and take advantage of them, so they didn't make a big fuss. Li family? The Li family that we met on our way here? That's right, it's them. Gong Jun nodded. Su Rian doesn't have a specific plan yet, but it's good to know more about Qing devil's enemies. Maybe it will come in handy. What's your plan? Mo Yunjua said. It's not suitable for us to stay here for too long. I know it's dark under the light. But since we don't have enough confidence, we'll just waste time here. It's not worth it to stay here for that guy. Anyway, we're going to leave anyway. Why don't we make some money before we leave? Gong Jun's interest was immediately aroused. I've checked the warehouse. It's not bad. The only trouble is that it's guarded by a 4th-level immortal and 2 3rd-level immortals. I'm afraid it won't be easy for us to take action. Let's think about it and see if there's any way to lure them away. Bailey Hongzhuang said in a low voice. It was indeed not easy, but it didn't mean that there was no way. Chapter 7441. Among the 8 of them, only Di Baichen and Bailey Hongzhuang were the strongest, but they were only at the 1st rank. Ever since they had a better understanding of this realm, they understood that it was not as easy to fight someone of a higher rank than them. An early stage level 1 might be able to defeat a middle stage level 1 or even an upper stage level 1, but defeating a level 2 was already very unlikely. As for a level 4, it was simply impossible. They wouldn't even think about it. Therefore, the only way was to trick the level 4 immortal to leave. The resource vault is the most important place to any power. The person guarding it will not leave easily. It will not be easy for us to lure him away. Mo Yunjua said in a low voice. Moreover, even if the 4th-rank immortal is not here, there are still 2 3rd-rank immortals. We are still no match for them. Zhongli Mu's expression was complicated. He had been traveling with Brother Mo for so long, and he had never been afraid of causing trouble. In fact, the trouble he caused was getting bigger and bigger. However, this did not mean that he did not know his own limit. If the difference in strength was too great, it meant that it was impossible for them to win. If they insisted on it, it would be no different from courting death. Sister-in-law, is there any way to deal with your poison? Gong Jun asked. Bailey Hongzhuang pondered for a moment. After breaking through to the elementary immortal stage, their body's resistance is very strong. Normal poisons will not have much effect on them. Although I can make a poison that is effective against them, they do not eat. This means that the poison can only be inhaled by them through the air. This way, the effect will be greatly reduced. Everyone's heart sank. This was the best idea they could think of. If it still did not work, they could only give up on this plan. Sister-in-law, what effect will there be if the poison is greatly reduced? Gong Jun asked, unwilling to give up. They will be unconscious for about 5 minutes. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. I will think of a way to make it longer, but it is not possible to extend it by too much. Her opponent's cultivation was higher than hers, and now that they were relatively poor, she did not have many immortal herbs in the immortal domain. It would be difficult to make a better poison. Gong Jun's eyes lit up. 5 minutes is already very impressive. 5 minutes might seem short, but with their cultivation, 5 minutes was enough for them to do a lot of things. As long as we can lure that rank 4 immortal away and make the other 2 unconscious for 5 minutes, we can loot the warehouse and leave this place. Gong Jun's eyes were filled with excitement. Then we'll be rich. Seeing that Gong Jun had already started to daydream, everyone felt helpless and amused at the same time. They hadn't even made a plan yet, and this guy was already thinking about splitting the spoils. His thinking speed was really fast. Di Baichen said slowly, "We've been patrolling the area for the past few days, and we've gradually become familiar with the environment here. After a little more time, we'll have a better grasp of the terrain. Perhaps there's a way." "Boss, have you thought of a way?" Di Baichen smiled faintly. "Luring the tiger away from the mountain." "Luring the tiger away from the mountain?" Mo Yunjue's brows twitched. "That's not an easy thing to do." There were cultivators everywhere in the Qing family. Although there weren't many rank 1 immortals, there were many rank 1 immortals. Even if there was a commotion, it might not alarm the people in the warehouse. End of chapter. Chapter 74-42. That's why we have to create a huge commotion and cause the entire branch to be in an uproar. That's the only way to attract the attention of the people in the resource warehouse. Di Baichen's lips curled into a slight smile. His faint smile had a hint of mischief to it. Mo Yunjue and Di Baichen looked at each other and suddenly understood. The two of them tacitly turned to Bailey Hongzhuang. "Hongzhuang, I'm afraid we'll need your help again." "Me? Aren't you very good at making explosives?" "We need a lot of explosives and we need to increase their power. When the time comes, we'll use the opportunity of patrolling to bury these explosives in other places. When we move, we only need to detonate the explosives and it will definitely cause a huge commotion. Everyone will run over to check it out. We'll create a diversion and use this opportunity to rob the resource warehouse." Once the news of the Qin clan being bombed spreads, the entire Qin clan will lose face. With such a huge commotion, even if they want to suppress the news, they won't be able to do it. We'll be getting back our interest. Seeing that Di Baichen and Mo Yunjue had come up with the entire plan so tacitly, Bai Li Yanche and the others couldn't help but gasp in amazement. This might sound a little crazy, but if you think about it carefully, it's not impossible. Bai Li Yanche's expression was serious. However, if we want to create a huge commotion, the explosives have to be powerful enough. If the explosion isn't powerful enough and the radius of the explosion isn't wide enough, the rank 4 immortals in the resource warehouse won't be attracted to it. Not only that, you have to find out if there are any powerful immortals in other places besides the resource warehouse. If there are immortals in other places, then not only will this plan fail, we might even be caught. When that happens, all of us will be finished. Ling'er added. Baichen nodded. We've only come up with a rough plan. There are still many details to be confirmed. Hong Zhuang, what do you think? The power of the explosives is indeed not bad, but the explosives used before are not very effective here. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was serious. The celestial realm was different from the outside world. Moreover, the people here were all experts. Perhaps the instant of the explosion would cause a certain amount of commotion, but as long as the other party set up a protective barrier, it would be enough to reduce the impact to the minimum. Everyone was a little disappointed. If the explosives didn't work, then this plan wouldn't work. Do you think the explosives are not powerful enough? Baichen asked. That's right. Explosives are quite effective in the upper realms. However, they have very little effect here. She and her master's wife had spent a lot of time researching this. In fact, when a cultivator's strength reached a certain level, these explosives wouldn't pose much of a threat. Unless we can find something even more powerful to add into the mix, it will be very difficult to create an explosion that will cause a commotion in the Qin clan's branch. After a long while, Baichen suddenly asked, "What about the blood spirit stones?" Blood spirit stones? Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly stunned. Then, her eyes gradually lit up. The blood spirit stones contain energy. A piece of high-grade blood spirit stone contains extremely pure and rich energy. If it's added into the mix and detonated, the power will be greatly increased. Perhaps I can give it a try. Chapter 74-43. After some discussion, everyone agreed that there was no need to rush into action. They had to understand the situation clearly before making any arrangements. Gong Jun's task was still to drink and chat with the other guards. He had to take the opportunity to understand the situation of this branch. Baichen and Mo Yunjue were in charge of finding a suitable place to set up an ambush. If they wanted to attract the rank 4 immortal from the resource warehouse, they had to think of a good place to set up an ambush. If they were too far away, the other party would not be able to open up the resource warehouse and would not be willing to leave. If they were too close, they would not be able to buy enough time. Hence, they had to consider this factor and choose a place that was neither too far nor too close. The other party would come over to take a look with some hope. However, it would take a few minutes for them to go back and forth. Only then would they be able to carry out their plan properly. Bailey Hongzhuang began to research whether adding blood spirit stones to the explosives would have a better effect. She also wanted to know how many blood spirit stones she had to put in to get the range she needed. This matter seemed simple, but it was not easy to plan it carefully. Ling'er saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had to study poisons and bombs. On the other hand, she didn't want to do anything. She felt a little guilty. Medical skills were too complicated. Without a certain amount of time, it could not be done well. Hence, she had no intention of interfering. However, she might be able to help with the explosives. Bailey Hongzhuang saw that Ling'er was interested and immediately explained the production principle. Ling'er understood immediately. This was not a complicated matter. Hence, she handed a portion of the work to Ling'er, which sped up the process. We don't have many blood spirit stones. If we want to test the explosives, we have to go back. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. Their biggest problem was that they did not have enough blood spirit stones. It was definitely not suitable to experiment in the immortal region. No matter where they tried it, it would definitely attract a lot of people. Fortunately, they had the Chaos Ring. They could try it in there. The biggest problem was that they did not have enough blood spirit stones. Every time they tried it, they had to use up blood spirit stones. This was not easy. This meant that they had to control the number of times they tested it. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have the chance to use it. Not only that, Bailey Hongzhuang checked the remaining immortal herbs. She was afraid that she would have to go to the medicinal herb shop to buy some more immortal herbs. Otherwise, the poison she concocted would not be as effective. Money was needed everywhere. We don't have many blood spirit stones left. What should we do? Ling glanced at the blood spirit stones beside her. They didn't have many blood spirit stones to begin with. Otherwise, they wouldn't have joined in on the fun just because the Li family had rewarded them with 10 blood spirit stones. Blood spirit stones were consumed at a very fast rate. Moreover, 1 blood spirit stone was not enough for each experiment. He needed at least 10 blood spirit stones. Only in this way could the explosion have a certain degree of power, which was something that a rank 1 cultivator could not withstand. According to Bailey Hongzhuang, it would take at least 100 blood spirit stones to get a rank 4 immortal to show up. Otherwise, the other party wouldn't even bother. Right now, they couldn't do such an experiment at all. After a few tries, they would be empty-handed. Hence, they could only try small-scale experiments first. I don't have enough immortal herbs to refine pills. Bailey Hongzhuang looked worried. Don't worry. Let's think about it. We'll find a way eventually. Chapter 74-44. Di Baichen and the others had already given all the blood spirit stones they had to Bailey Hongzhuang. However, they knew very well that this amount of blood spirit stones would not last for long. If we use all the blood spirit stones to buy immortal spirit herbs, will it be enough to refine elixirs? Di Baichen asked. The value of elixirs had always been higher than immortal spirit herbs. If possible, they could refine elixirs a few more times to increase the amount of blood spirit stones. However, Bailey Hongzhuang would have to spend a lot of time doing so. Bailey Hongzhuang thought for a moment and shook her head. I'm not very sure either. According to what I know, the immortal spirit herbs in the immortal domain are probably not cheap. I can go out and take a look. It's worth it to pay the price now. As long as we can rob the resource vault, the cultivation resources will be enough for us to cultivate to rank 2 or even rank 3. Bai Li Yanche smiled. Right now, all of them were penniless and struggling to make ends meet. However, as long as they could rob the resource vault, everyone would be rich. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. This was the truth. At this level, the speed of improvement could be said to be very slow if they relied on their own cultivation. Only by using cultivation resources could they increase the speed of their cultivation. Although they had consumed a lot of cultivation resources in the past, it could not be compared to now. It was likely that cultivating above the elementary celestial realm would consume a lot of resources. Even if they went to the 4 great continents, the situation would still be the same. Boss, I'm back. Gong Jun's voice came from outside the house. He walked in with a smile on his face. His proud appearance made people feel as if he had encountered something good. Gong Jun, what's made you so happy? Bai Li Yanche teased. I saw that Qing Jie often brought you out when he went out recently. He seems to think highly of you. Gong Jun chuckled. It's all right. Actually, that guy likes it when people flatter him. Then did you get anything? Here, this is the money I got from going out with Qing Jie these past few days. Gong Jun placed the blood spirit stone on the table with a complacent look on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at the table. There were 300 blood spirit stones on the table. You are quite efficient. They don't receive many blood spirit stones in a month. Gong Jun received 300 blood spirit stones just by going out for a stroll. That's pretty good. Of course. I think this guy is actually very vain. If I hang around him more, I think I'll be able to gain a lot. Sister-in-law, take a look and see if these blood spirit stones are enough to buy the immortal spirit herb. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. I'll go to the medicine shop tomorrow and see if I can buy the herbs I need. Sister, you have to keep these blood spirit stones well. Gong Jun earned them by selling his body. They are all hard-earned money, Bai Li Yanche said with a sigh. Hearing this, everyone looked at Gong Jun with smiles in their eyes. Bai Li Yanche, explain yourself clearly. How am I selling my body? Although he did smile a lot in front of Qingjie. I understand. I understand everything. Bai Lianche looked like he understood. You're not selling your body. You're selling your body. It's been hard on you. You are our expert at making money. Gong Jun looked at Bai Lianche suspiciously. What Bai Lianche said made sense, but he felt like something was wrong. However, he couldn't figure out what it was. It's good that you know. You have to treat me better in the future. Otherwise, I won't give you any money to spend. Chapter 74-45. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling went to the street. The Qing clan did not restrict the entry and exit of cultivators, which gave them a lot of convenience. Walking on the crowded streets, Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling kept a low profile. They did not look at anyone, as they did not want to get into any trouble. This street is really long. The cities in the celestial realm are much bigger than the cities outside. Ling was in a good mood. Only when one came to a wider plane would one be able to see a wider world. Thinking back, she thought that the upper realm was already pretty good. Now, compared to the upper realm, the difference was really too big. There are many kinds of shops, but we have not seen a medicine shop yet. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at both sides of the street. Along the way, they had seen many medicine shops, weapon shops, and so on, but they had not seen a medicine shop. Don't tell me the people here buy the pills directly? Ling looked confused. Even in the realm of chaotic immortals, there were a lot of medicinal herb shop. Look, that 10,000 herbs pavilion should be selling medicinal herbs. Bailey Hongzhuang noticed a signboard at the corner in front of them, and her eyes lit up. Let's go and take a look. The two of them quickened their pace, and when they got closer, they realized that it was indeed a medicine shop. Instantly they smiled. We finally found it. Just when Bailey Hongzhuang was about to enter the shop, her footsteps paused slightly. Ling could not help but be confused. Hongzhuang, what's wrong? What a coincidence, I met an acquaintance. An acquaintance. Ling turned her head and saw an extremely familiar figure. It can't be right? Gong Jun is actually here? Qingjie likes to bring Gong Jun out to do things these days. Think about it, when you want to be arrogant, you have an assistant by your side. Doesn't that feel good? Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved slightly. Qingjie himself was a troublemaker, but he obviously wasn't happy to go out alone. Now that he found a subordinate who could cooperate with him, it was simply perfect. It does feel good, Linger nodded. So, Qingjie brought Gong Jun along because of this? Isn't that a lackey? Bailey Hongzhuang. That makes sense. Gong Jun also noticed Bailey Hongzhuang and Gu Ruyun. He just winked at them and continued to follow Qingjie respectfully. Let's go. Bailey Hongzhuang did not look at them again and walked into the pavilion of herbs. Miss, what would you like to buy? The waiter quickly came up to her. Bailey Hongzhuang handed the list to the waiter. I want to buy these immortal spirit herbs. Before she came, she had already drawn up a list. She thought that the shops should have a complete collection of low-grade immortal herbs. However, the more valuable immortal herbs might not be available. The waiter looked through all the immortal spirit herbs on the list and said, We have all the herbs in front, but the price of this Yunji lotus is not low. Even the younger ones cost 500 high-grade blood spirit stones. Miss, you, noticing the waiter's kind gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang understood that the waiter saw that she was only a first-grade immortal and did not have many cultivation resources. She might not be able to afford this. In fact, it was not impossible, but she really could not afford it. Then let's buy the ones in front first, Bailey Hongzhuang said. She had only written this Yunji lotus because she wanted to know the market price. The price was not something they could afford now. Chapter 74-46. All right, please wait a moment. The attendant smiled. He did not look down on them because of this. Then, he went to the back to prepare the immortal spirit herbs they needed. Hongzhuang, what is the Yunjilian used for? Asked Linger. The Yunjilian is used to make knockout pills. I've thought of a few recipes. Although it's useful for us, it won't have much effect on grade 3 immortals. If I add the Yunjilian, I'll be more confident. However, the herbs are more expensive. Bailey Hongzhuang felt a little helpless. She had already calculated that she could only achieve the effect she needed by adding the Yunjilian. However, she could not afford it now. She would sell the pills after she successfully refined them. She should be able to earn some blood spirit stones. Then, it would not be too late to buy the Yunjilian. Most importantly, she was sure that this shop had it. It seems that we have to buy the Yunjilian no matter what. Linger frowned. I don't know if Gong Jun can make any more money. Otherwise, given our current situation, I'm afraid we'll have to spend a lot of time on this. Making explosives required blood spirit stones. The knockout pills also required blood spirit stones. She had never felt so poor before. Even if she added up all her belongings, there was still a big hole. The price of the Immortal Protectorate could not be compared to the chaotic Immortal Protectorate. Perhaps it was because the cultivation resources here were more abundant and more precious. Although the two places were in the same plane, they were two completely different worlds. Everything could not be compared. Gong Jun had made some money when he opened the Thousand Treasures Pavilion. However, after opening a restaurant and buying a house in the chaotic Immortal Protectorate, he did not have much left. Now everyone was embarrassingly short of money. Even if she wanted to refine pills, she had to refine pills that cultivators in the Immortal Protectorate could use. Those from the chaotic Immortal Protectorate were useless here. Let's try refining pills first. It would be best if we could find a place like the Alchemist Guild. If someone needs help refining pills, they might be able to make money faster. Bailey Hongzhuang thought to herself. No matter where it was, pills were extremely popular. Many people needed the help of an alchemist, but just like how the other party couldn't find an alchemist, she also couldn't find the person she needed. Most importantly, her alchemy skills were not enough to refine high-grade pills. If she wanted to start from this step, she would have to spend a lot of time. Miss, all the herbs you want are here. The attendant placed the herbs one by one in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Here's a total of 680. If there's no problem, I'll wrap it up for you. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at them. They were indeed the herbs she needed. She immediately nodded. That's right. Once she handed over 680 blood spirit stones, Linger couldn't help but feel her heart ache. She was becoming poorer and poorer. Qingjie, why are you like a mad dog? You follow us wherever we go. As soon as she stepped out of the door, Bailey Hongzhuang heard an exasperated voice that sounded familiar. Isn't that the one from the Li family that I saw last time? Linger saw him at a glance. This scene was very similar to what had happened in the Flying Dharma artifact. Indeed. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. It seems like these two are at odds again. The way I see it, this isn't a coincidence at all. Qingjie is just deliberately looking for trouble. Linger's eyes were filled with mockery. Qingjie was a restless fellow. It was impossible to believe that this was a coincidence. Chapter 74-47. Who are you calling a mad dog? Qingjie was instantly enraged. You're just a guy who picked up a used shoe. You parade this woman around the city every day. I just happened to bump into her. Calling me a mad dog? Why don't you call yourself one? Li Rui's was even angrier when he heard that. Who's parading around the city? I haven't been out for the past few days. Today is the first time I've come out. I don't believe you. Qingjie sneered. If you want to be with this woman, that's your business. But don't keep appearing in front of me. You're an eyesore. That's right. Even a glance at this kind of guy would dirty our young Master Jie's eyes. Who would want to see him? He really knows how to flatter himself. Gong Jun stood behind Qingjie. His eyes were full of mockery, as if Qingjie was some kind of noble person. The moment these words were spoken, Li Rui's and his group became even angrier. On the contrary, It was Qing Jie who had a complacent expression as he glanced at Gong Jun with satisfaction. Among the people who had followed him all these years, only Gong Jun was the most perceptive. Look at that. What a good word. Ling was speechless as she looked at Gong Jun, who was acting like a lackey. Her lips twitched. Normally, I want to hit this kind of guy whenever I see him. Bailey Hongzhuang. Then this person is Gong Jun. Do you still want to hit him? Honestly? I still want to hit him. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled helplessly. This kind of character really deserved a beating. Didn't you see how the Li family couldn't wait to eat Gong Jun alive? Speaking of which, this Qing Jie really knows how to cause trouble. The Li family is really unlucky to have met him. I think this trouble won't be over after today. Miss, you know young Master Jie too? Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but look to her side. She realized that the person who spoke was the attendant from before. She had a good impression of the attendant, so she said, I've heard of it. I saw this scene when I was on the flying artifact. I see. The attendant smiled and sighed. This young Master Li is an honest and considerate person. He's not as arrogant and despotic as young Master Jie, so I can't beat him in this aspect. Looking at their situation, it should be a long-standing grudge. It's not because of a woman, right? The Li clan and the Qin clan have always been at odds with each other. It's just that Miss Gung used to be young Master Jie's Dao companion. Now that she's with young Master Li, there's naturally more trouble. The way I see it, young Master Li is actually about to die from anger, but as long as he doesn't make a move, he can't do anything to the other party. This Qing Jie is so arrogant. Why didn't Li Rui's attack him directly? That girl was repeatedly insulted. How upset was she? Ling asked, puzzled. Normally, if they were truly in love, why would they be willing to see a woman being humiliated like this? Young Master Jie doesn't look like he's doing anything right, but he's not weak. The difference in strength between the two sides isn't big. If they really fight, Li Rui's won't have any advantage. Moreover, young Master Jie's big brother is stronger. If his big brother shows up, it'll be even harder to clean up the mess. So, although young Master Li is depressed, it's not wise to fight now. The attendant explained. Hearing that, Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger understood. They could only endure this situation. After all, they were weaker than the other party. Chapter 74-48. Qing Jie, don't be arrogant just because your big brother is strong. My big brother will break through soon, and when that time comes, he'll tear your mouth apart. Li Ruiyang's face was ashen, and the veins on his temples were bulging. His anger roared like an angry lion. If it wasn't for the last bit of rationality left in him, he would have already charged forward. Qing Jie's proud expression changed slightly, and he was a little surprised. He didn't expect Li Rui's to be about to break through. Could it be that I've given you too much pressure, and that's why you're about to break through? Qing Jie chuckled. Then you'll have to thank me properly. Go to hell, Li Rui said angrily. Big brother, let's go. Don't bother with this guy. Let's go too. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Ling and the curve of her lips unconsciously rose a little. Noticing the change in Bailey Hongzhuang's expression, Ling couldn't help but ask, Did you think of something? I suddenly thought of a way to make money, but it depends on whether the other party is willing to buy it. What way? Qing Jie has provoked them time and time again. Don't you think the Li family hates him? Of course. Didn't you see Li Rui's eyes turn red just now? He couldn't wait to kill Qing Jie. If it weren't for the fact that he's not strong enough, he would have already made his move. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. So, this is an opportunity. What do you mean? They want to teach Qing Jie a lesson, but they can't do it because of their lack of strength. If I can help them, do you think they'll be willing? Ling immediately understood when she heard this. Her clear black and white eyes became brighter. You mean to ask the Li family to pay? It might be an opportunity. As long as we can help, I'm sure they'll be willing. Bailey Hongzhuang's dark and bright eyes flashed with wisdom. Her worried expression disappeared, and she suddenly felt confident. This matter sounded a little unreliable, but with the other party's hatred for Qing Jie, it was very likely that they would agree. Then how do you plan to contact them? Send someone to inform them? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. The Li family's residence is easy to find. We just need to ask around for Li Ruiyang's location, write a letter to him, and wait for his response. Li Ruiyang. Ling was stunned. Is it Li Rui's? No, it's Li Ruiyang. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled. Li Ruiyang is a generous person. In other words, he's a gentleman. He might not even bother to do such a thing, but it's obvious that he hates Qing Jie to the core. As long as it's possible to punish Qing Jie, he'll definitely be willing to try. Hongzhuang, you're really smart. Ling understood. I saw that Li Ruiyang was even angrier than Li Rui's. It's very likely that he'll agree. But what kind of punishment do you plan to give Qing Jie? Didn't Li Ruiyang just say that he wanted to tear Qing Jie's mouth apart? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyebrows slanted, a proud expression on her face. We'll let him do as he wishes. The two of them acted very quickly. After writing the letter, they disguised themselves and went to the Li family to have the letter delivered. The next day, in the restaurant, Li Ruiyang looked at the unfamiliar man in front of him. His eyes were filled with suspicion. You're the one who handed this letter to me? That's me. How dare you? Li Ruiyang's face turned serious. His aura immediately enveloped Bailey Hongzhuang. Do you know what will happen to you once I deliver this letter to the Qing family? End of chapter. Chapter 7449. Mr. Li, since I dared to send you a letter like this, I naturally have thought everything through. There is no need for you to test me. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was normal. Facing the serious Li Ruiyang, she was calm and composed. Her voice was calm and steady. I know that Qing Jie has gone overboard with his actions. I'm sure you have reached the end of your patience. I can do this for you. All I need is some compensation. If you agree, then I will act. If you don't, then it's fine. Why should I believe you? Li Ruiyang narrowed his eyes. Looking at this man who came out of nowhere, his heart was full of doubts. When he received this letter yesterday, he thought it was ridiculous that someone would say something like this. But after thinking about it, if this man could really do it, then it would be very satisfying. So today, he decided to come out and see if this man really had the ability. Mr. Li, 1,000 blood spirit stones is not a big sum to you. Why don't you just give it a try? Plus, even if someone wanted to trick you, no one would use such a method to trick you. Bailey Hongzhuang was unmoved. From the moment Li Ruiyang came out to meet her today, she knew that this move had succeeded. If she wasn't moved, Li Ruiyang wouldn't have come out. 7 days. Can you make Qing Jie unable to speak for 7 days? Can you make his lips fester and cause him extreme pain? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. I promise you, as long as Mr. Li pays the deposit, I will let you see the results very quickly. Li Rui's thought about it. 1,000 blood spirit stones was really nothing to him. If this guy could really help him vent his anger, then it would be great. These days, he was about to go crazy from anger because of Qing Jie. However, he was curious about this guy. Who was Qing Jie? He had quite a bit of influence in the Qing clan's branch, and it wasn't an easy task to make a move on him. Furthermore, with Qing Jie's cultivation, the grade of the poison wouldn't be low to make him unable to speak. If this guy was really a poison master of that level, why would he care about 1,000 blood spirit stones? In short, this matter was really strange. If Bailey Hongzhuang knew what Qing Jie was thinking, she would be helpless. She was really short on money. She had carefully considered the price of 1,000 blood spirit stones. If the price was too high, Li Ruiyang probably wouldn't agree. If the price was too low, it wouldn't be worth the risk. 1,000 blood spirit stones was in the middle, it was more appropriate. I won't give you a deposit, 1,000 blood spirit stones. I hope you can do it. Bailey Hongzhuang accepted the blood spirit stone on the table, a smile blooming on her lips. Li Gongzi, don't worry. You will soon see the results. If you need me to help you with other things, you can contact me. The location is this restaurant. Gong Jun looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in front of him, and his eyes were full of surprise. Sister-in-law, you earn money faster than me. You earned 1,000 blood spirit stones in the blink of an eye. How did you earn so much? Bai Li Yanche and the others were also surprised. They saw Hongzhuang buy the herbs. She hadn't even refined the pills yet. How did she earn so much money in the blink of an eye? Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. I didn't earn it alone, I earned it with you. Me? Gong Jun pointed at himself. Sister-in-law, are you sure you're talking about me? Chapter 7450. Their speed was so fast that it was as if the two of them had never appeared. With a light breeze, the two of them had already disappeared. Ziren wanted to leave immediately, but thinking that those fellows were chasing after him, if he went out now, it would be too conspicuous. He simply entered the city quickly and found a restaurant to hide in. The elders of the Qin clan were about to go crazy. They were chasing after a man and a woman, but who would have thought that these two fellows were not human? A dragon flew directly into the sky, the sea of clouds churning easily. Although they could also fly, they needed to use their energy and could not fly by themselves. That was fine. It was not easy to chase after those in the sky, but those on the ground should be easy, right? But as they chased, they suddenly realized that the one on the ground was actually a beast king. Beast king. This was a demonic beast that they had heard of but had never seen before. The probability of encountering a beast king was almost the same as the probability of breaking through to the 9th level overnight. Yet, such a thing had really happened, right in front of their eyes. Now, with a roar from the Beast King, all the fellows from the beast race came. Gradually, they could only watch as the Beast King ran further and further away. With so many of them chasing after them, in the end, they actually let the two of them escape. Thinking of the situation when they returned, they were afraid that they would all be punished. This was a huge loss of face. Fourth Elder, what should we do? Should we still chase? Chase. Fourth Elder's face was ashen. I notice that their aura is heading towards the city. They should be hiding in the city now. Fourth Elder, we have already caused a big commotion today. Many people are guessing what happened. Once we enter the city, the impact will be even greater. At that time, if they found them, then so be it. If they couldn't find them, then they would all lose face. Fourth Elder naturally understood the crux of the matter. But if they let the two fellows escape like this, he could not afford to lose face. The rest of you go back first. The three of us will enter the city. Fourth Elder thought for a while and said. Hearing this, everyone nodded. The three of them were not too big of a target. As long as they were careful and did not directly expose their target, it would be fine. Fourth Elder and the other two entered the city and spread out their spiritual energy. Along the streets, they felt the aura of the two fellows were very eye-catching. As long as they locked onto their aura, they would definitely not be able to escape. However, they didn't see any of them along the way. It was truly strange. Those fellows are also from the Qin clan, right? The Qin clan is really interesting today. First, they sent a 3rd stage expert. Now, they have a 4th stage expert and 2 3rd stage experts. What do you think they want to do? To hunt down an elementary immortal with this level of cultivation, isn't the strength of the Qin clan a little too weak? That rank 3 from before still hasn't been found. I don't know if he was traumatized, but he actually entered the brothel. After Fourth Elder and the other two entered the city, they noticed that the people around them were looking at them strangely. He also felt that it was very strange. After all, the previous movements were outside, so they shouldn't have attracted so much attention. When they heard the discussion of these people, their expressions suddenly became very strange. The rank 3 of our family? There doesn't seem to be a single rank 3 in the hunting teams. What's going on? The three of them hesitated for a moment before walking towards the direction of the brothel. They felt that this person was definitely not from the Qin clan. Who knows, this person might be the mastermind of those fellows, purposely trying to ruin the reputation of the Qin clan in order to confuse the public. After all, no one would go to a brothel to investigate such things. Chapter 74-51. Then I'll leave this mission to you. Although Qing Jie trusts you now, you still have to be careful when you make a move. It'll be troublesome if you're discovered, Bailey Hongzhuang said. Gong Jun was touched. Sister-in-law, don't worry. I'll be extra careful. Qing Jie definitely won't find out. However, I have another question. Why didn't you just poison Qing Jie to death? Why did you just teach him a lesson? 7 days of ulceration at the corner of his mouth was actually just to prank him. It was uncomfortable, but it was more of a loss of face. If we directly killed Qing Jie, wouldn't we lose this business in the future? Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's matter-of-fact expression, Zhongli Mu and the others were dumbfounded. Hongzhuang had turned bad. In the past, it was just a trap. Now, it had become a series of traps. Gong Jun looked at Di Beichen with admiration. Boss, sister-in-law has already begun to learn your essence. You're worth teaching. This is quite good. First, we'll earn 1,000 blood spirit stones. Then, Gong Jun and Qing Jie will go and pull some aggro. Then, we'll earn some more blood spirit stones. This is probably much faster than other methods of earning money. Bai Li Yanche's eyes lit up. He suddenly seemed to have found a good way to make money. I've already prepared the medicine. Find a chance. Bailey Hongzhuang handed the medicine to Gong Jun and reminded him to be careful. Don't worry. The next day, Qing Jie woke up early in the morning and found that he couldn't speak. Not only that, but the corner of his mouth was also very painful. When he looked in the mirror, he immediately exploded. His mouth and tongue were sore and his lips were full of blisters. It was as if his face was disfigured. It was extremely ugly. Someone come! He shouted with all his might, but he found that he couldn't make a sound. No one noticed his situation. Damn it, how could this be? Qing Jie roared in his heart. At this level of cultivation, it was impossible for him to have ulcers in his mouth and tongue. Someone must be trying to harm him. I'll tear your mouth apart when the time comes. Qing Jie couldn't help but recall what Li Ruiyang had said a few days ago. At that time, he didn't take it to heart at all. He didn't expect that such a thing would actually happen now. Could it be related to Li Ruiyang? The Li family. Have you heard? Qing Jie's mouth is actually sore, and he can't even speak. Previously, he was so arrogant and swaggering through the streets every day. I think he doesn't even dare to go out now. That guy's mouth is so venomous. I'm afraid this is God's punishment for him. He deserved it. The next time we meet, if he still has such a big mouth, I can give him a good scolding. After Li Ruiyang heard the conversation in the courtyard, his expression became extremely strange. He had indeed given the other party 1,000 blood spirit stones. However, after returning, the more he thought about it, the more he felt that his action was really too stupid. It was impossible for the other party to really do this. Perhaps they were only here to cheat him. However, he didn't expect to see a joke so quickly. The transaction yesterday had resulted in Qing Jie becoming like this today. The effect was exactly the same as that man had said. It was practically instantaneous. Ruiyang, your mouth is really accurate, haha. A hand rested on Li Ruiyang's shoulder, causing him to quiver in fright. How are you? Li Rui's asked in confusion. Only then did Li Ruiyang come back to his senses. He shook his head and said, I just feel that it's really so accurate. Even I don't dare to believe it. Chapter 74-52. Li Ruiyang was all smiles. Evil is doomed to destruction. This guy deserves it, but I don't think this is a coincidence. Someone must have done something to Qing Jie. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ended up like this. I just don't know who did it. Big brother, why do you care who it is? In any case, he helped us vent our anger. It's fine as long as you're happy. Li Ruiyang was in a good mood. It's a pity that Qing Jie must be hiding for the next few days. Otherwise, it would be even more satisfying if I could see it with my own eyes. Haha, that's true. Li Rui's laughed. I'll go tell you Lin this good news first. Only after Li Rui's left did Li Ruiyang think about what had happened. He had underestimated the other party's ability. The 1,000 blood spirit stones he had spent had been well worth it. I didn't expect that kid to be so capable. To be able to make Qing Jie like this. Could it be that he's one of Qing Jie's people? Li Rui's chuckled. This guy is really infuriating. Even so many people around him hate him. He really deserves it. Qing Jie didn't leave the house for several days. Gong Jun also had some rare free time, so everyone gathered together again. Boss, I did a good job, didn't I? His face was filled with a smug smile as he looked at Di Beichen. You didn't leave any traces, right? Of course not. I'm someone who's very afraid of death. I couldn't have been more careful when I did this. No one would have discovered me. You did well. Di Beichen was not stingy with his praise. After this incident, Qing Jie should also know that this matter is related to the people around him. Perhaps he has already begun to investigate. You have to be careful. Bailey Hongzhuang was very concerned. Although it was to make money and she had said it as a joke, she was still worried about Gong Jun's safety. They were currently in the Qing family. If they were discovered, Gong Jun would definitely be the first to bear the brunt. This was not something she wanted to see. Sister-in-law, you don't have to worry about me. Gong Jun was very confident. Qing Jie goes to so many places every day and meets so many people. How could he know who did it? Moreover, I've been favored by him recently. Everyone is jealous of how fast I climb up the ranks. No one would think that I would harm Qing Jie. The saying that it was dark under the light really worked. If it was anyone else, after being promoted by Qing Jie like this, they would definitely not go against him. It was just that no one expected that he already had a grudge with the Qing clan. That's good. Bailey Hongzhuang felt relieved. Regarding the explosives, I have already tested them. After adding blood spirit stones, the explosive power will indeed increase a lot. As long as you add more blood spirit stones, you should be able to achieve the explosive power you need. Hearing this, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. This was, without a doubt, extremely good news. That's good. When the time comes and we make such a big commotion, it will definitely attract a lot of people. Gong Jun breathed a sigh of relief. Once we rob the resource warehouse, we can leave this place. It's weird to stay here all day. I'll go to the medicine store again and buy the herbs we need. I'll also sell the pill I refined and see if I can gather the blood spirit stones we need. Bailey Hongzhuang lowered her eyes. She had done some calculations. This might not be enough, but she would take it one step at a time. Maybe there would be a better way. Chapter 74-53. I've also made 2 high-grade array stones. Let's go and see if we can sell them. Di Beichen took out the array stones that he had made during his free time. The higher grade of the array stones, the more complicated it would be to make, and the more energy it would take. In order to make these, he had failed many times. After all, this level of improvement was not immediate. Bailey Hongzhuang took the array stones and said with a faint smile, I'll go and ask when the time comes. But now that we've taken out all the array stones, I think it's best to leave some blood spirit stones. If our plan doesn't succeed, at least we have the money to leave. It's better to be safe than sorry. Everyone nodded. This was also a problem they had to consider. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling went out again and bought the herbs they couldn't afford before. Miss, do you still need other herbs? This was the second time the attendant had seen Bailey Hongzhuang. He still remembered clearly how she couldn't afford it the last time, but he didn't expect her to come again so soon. It could be seen that she really needed it. Bailey Hongzhuang thought for a moment, then said, "Little brother, do you know where I can buy pills nearby? Miss wants to sell pills?" The attendant was a little surprised. Thinking about Bailey Hongzhuang's previous actions, he suddenly understood. Could it be that Miss is actually an alchemist? Yes. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't deny it. "I'm new here and embarrassed, so I want to sell these pills." "I understand." The attendant nodded repeatedly. "Miss is young, but as an alchemist, you're already very powerful. As long as you spend more time, you will definitely become a master in the future. We are a medicinal shop, so we only buy herbs. Since Miss wants to sell pills, I think you should go to the Thousand Treasures Pavilion. Although the Wanbao Pavilion mainly sells all kinds of things that cultivators need, they also recycle them. It's just that the price is slightly lower." Bailey Hongzhuang had mixed feelings when she heard the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion again. She really didn't expect that after going around in circles, she would have to go to the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion again. She only hoped that the Immortal Domain's 10,000 Treasures Pavilion wouldn't be the same as the one in Shiyun City. "Thank you, little brother." The 10,000 Treasures Pavilion was not far from the medicine store. Bailey Hongzhuang thought about it and found a place to dress up as a man. Selling medicinal pills was more eye-catching than buying medicinal herbs. If she was noticed by others, it would be difficult to avoid trouble. As the largest resource store in the Immortal Realm, the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion was much larger than the other stores. There were also many people coming and going inside. "Young master, what do you need?" As soon as he stepped into the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion, the attendant greeted him warmly. Unlike the other cultivators who were shopping, Bailey Hongzhuang said directly, "I want to sell medicinal pills and formation stones." Hearing this, the attendant's eyes changed slightly for a moment, but he quickly smiled and said, "Young master, please come with me." Under the attendant's lead, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other person walked inside and saw an old man. "This is the appraiser of our 10,000 Treasures Pavilion. Elder Yang is in charge of recycling." The old man also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, but his gaze paused meaningfully on the two of them for a moment, then quickly returned to normal. "Young master, what do you want to sell? Why don't you let this old man take a look? Our store is honest, young master can rest assured." Chapter 74-54. Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling were both shocked. Although the old man in front of them looked very old, they felt as if they had been seen through with just one glance. It was obvious that the old man's cultivation level was much higher than theirs. The so-called disguise was almost useless under the old man's gaze. Since they had been seen through, Bailey Hongzhuang did not mind. If the old man did not expose them, it meant that he was not interested in this matter. As long as what they did had nothing to do with the Wanbao Pavilion, the old man would not care. She placed the pill and erase stone on the table. "Elder Yang, these are the things I want to sell. Please take a look." Elder Lu took the pill in his hand. With just one glance, he could tell the grade of the pill. "This is a second-grade bone-tempering pill?" "Yes." Bailey Hongzhuang had some understanding of the situation in the Immortal Domain recently. This second-grade bone-tempering pill corresponded to the pills used by second-grade cultivators to temper their limbs. After consumption, the tempering speed would increase. With her current strength and the immortal herbs she had, she could only refine a second-grade bone-tempering pill. Second-grade bone-tempering pills are not uncommon. We sell many of them in our shop. However, the refining technique of this pill is not bad. The pill is very round and full. There are even 2 pill veins on it. It is a rare second-grade bone-tempering pill. Elder Lu sized it up. Suddenly, his expression changed slightly. "Wait. The refining technique of this pill is very unusual. If I'm not wrong, the effects of this pill should be stronger than ordinary bone-tempering pills, right?" Ling saw that Elder Lu, who had been unfathomable before, suddenly had a change in expression. Even when he looked at Hong Zhuang, his eyes were filled with curiosity. She also found it very funny. It was obviously very difficult to pretend to be cold in front of Hong Zhuang. Elder Lu has good eyesight, Bailey Hong Zhuang praised. Heroes come from the young. Old Lu's face was full of admiration, and his attitude was even more cordial than before. Originally, we would have bought the bone-tempering pill at a price 20% lower than the selling price, but this pill of yours is much stronger than ordinary pills, so I'll buy it at the selling price. What do you think, young master? No problem. Thank you very much. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. The price offered by Mr. Lu was already not bad. Because of the improvement of the medicinal properties, the price was increased by 20%. It was considered fair. Let me take another look at this array stone. After Elder Lu became interested in the elixir, he became spirited and immediately looked at the array stone. This array stone, the standard is not bad. If I'm not wrong, this should be an array stone used for teleportation. Moreover, the distance is very far and the activation time is short. It's already considered a fine item in this grade. Old Lu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang suspiciously. Originally, he wasn't very interested in her disguise. But after seeing these two things, he felt that the person behind this girl wasn't simple at all. Miss, may I have the opportunity to get to know this alchemist and array master? Elder Lu, if fate wills it, we will definitely meet. Elder Lu nodded slightly and did not insist. This second-grade bone-tempering pill is 2,000 blood spirit stones, and this array stone is 5,000 blood spirit stones. What do you think? Hearing this price, Bailey Hongzhuang was a little surprised. According to what she knew, this grade of array stone was at most 4,000 blood spirit stones. How could the price be 1,000 blood spirit stones higher? Among the array stones, teleportation array stones are the most valuable. Chapter 7455. The activation time of this formation stone is shorter than other formation stones of the same grade. When a cultivator needs to save their life, the effect of this formation stone will be better. This is its true value. If you sell it, the price will be higher. Elder Lu's face revealed a kind smile. This old man hopes to get to know this alchemist and formation master one day. Naturally, I won't take advantage of you in this matter. Bailey Hongzhuang finally understood. During this period of time, whenever Beichen went back, he would study formation stones by himself. It seemed that he had really made a lot of progress. When he participated in the competition, he saw formations that greatly improved Beichen's formation skills. It seemed that Beichen would really become a very powerful formation master in the future. This formation master is so good at making spatial formation stones. Maybe he has the opportunity to build a transmission array. Even in the immortal region, there are not many formation masters who can do this. Elder Lu's eyes were full of admiration. Why is that? Bailey Hongzhuang was a little surprised. In fact, the creation of a transmission array was not too complicated. Otherwise, there would not be transmission arrays in the lower planes. It seems that you haven't been in the immortal region for long. Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly startled. She secretly thought that this guy was really an old fox. With just a few words, he already knew that she was a newcomer. It can't escape Elder Lu's eyes. Ha ha! Elder Lu had already guessed Bailey Hongzhuang's inner thoughts from the look in her eyes. He suddenly felt that it was interesting. You must think that I'm an old fox. However, you can rest assured that as long as you don't want to, this old man will not investigate anything else. I also believe that Elder Lu is a senior worthy of respect. Bailey Hongzhuang cupped her hands. She was certain that this old man had a high status in Lu Xian City. If he really wanted to investigate their origins, she was afraid that they would not be able to escape. However, as Elder Lu said, even if he admired them, he would not be so shameless as to really investigate them. Juniors. You're flattering me. Elder Lu chuckled and didn't care. Young Master has only been in the immortal region for a short period of time, so you don't know that the restrictions in the immortal region are different from the outside world. The teleportation location is also very far away, and the principles involved are much more complicated than those teleportation arrays outside. There were many talented people in the celestial realm, but there were not many formation masters who could do this. This was because many of the patterns that were very simple on the outside were very difficult to continue here. As for why I think so highly of this array master, it's because although his array master's level isn't very high, the spatial laws contained here are very interesting. When I first came to the celestial realm, I was able to use the formation stones I created. Don't you think it's very interesting? Bailey Hongzhuang finally understood. So this was the reason why the other party looked at them differently. She had seen the two array stones and the theory used was similar to what they had made in the past. No, the array techniques that she and Beichen learned came from Heishinjun. Obviously, Heishinjun came from the celestial realm, so the array techniques he left behind were suitable for the celestial realm. The reason why they could be used outside was because the array techniques they created were of a higher level. In an instant, Bailey Hongzhuang understood everything. These were the array stones of the celestial realm that could be used in the outside world, but the array stones of the outside world could not be used in the celestial realm. Chapter 74-56. They were short of money, so it was great that Lu was willing to give them an extra 1,000 blood spirit stones. Elder Lu quickly took the 7,000 blood spirit stones. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but sigh as she looked at the blood spirit stones in her storage ring. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have worked so hard to earn money in the outside world. It was much easier to earn blood spirit stones in the realm of chaos compared to the immortal realms. However, the situation was different in different places. Cultivators in the immortal realms all used blood spirit stones, so it wasn't a big deal. However, in the realm of chaos, everyone used blood spirit stones of medium or even low quality. Therefore, blood spirit stones of high quality were very precious. Elder Lu, young Master Li asked if we have any formation stones that can be activated for a short time. A waiter walked over from the front. What a coincidence! Elder Lu glanced outside. There are 2 second-grade formation stones here. They should suit young Master Li's needs. The waiter couldn't help but look at Bailey Hongzhuang. He picked up the formation stones and was about to leave when Li Rui's and Li Ruiyang walked over. How is it? Do you have any more formation stones? Young Master Li, we happen to have 2 formation stones that suit your needs. Why don't you take a look? Li Rui's nodded slightly. Okay. Li Ruiyang noticed Bailey Hongzhuang, and with a glance, his expression changed slightly. He looked around suspiciously. Could it be that this guy followed him in? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly at Li Ruiyang. It wasn't a big movement, so no one else noticed. Elder Lu, I'll take my leave first. Okay. Remember to come again when you have time. Elder Lu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang meaningfully. What an interesting guy. However, when these words fell into Li Ruiyang's ears, he could not help but be shocked. This fellow actually had such a close relationship with Elder Lu? After knowing about Qing Jie's matter, he felt that this guy had some ability, but now he was also involved with Elder Lu. He knew very well what kind of person Elder Lu was. Since this person was so close to Elder Lu, he was definitely not a simple person. However, this person was willing to help him for just 1,000 blood spirit stones. This was too strange. Li Ruiyang was confused. Seeing that Li Rui's was still looking at the array stone, he took the opportunity to catch up to Bailey Hongzhuang. Wait. Bailey Hongzhuang stopped in her tracks and looked at Li Ruiyang, who had caught up with her. Is something the matter, young master? I have a question for you, Li Ruiyang said in a deep voice. Young Master Li, I've always been a businessman. I'm not responsible for answering questions. If you want to do business with me, I'll naturally welcome it. However, I'm really not interested in answering your question. Li Ruiyang was stunned. He really didn't know anything about this guy. Now that he had a relationship with Elder Lu, he didn't dare to be too tough. Goodbye. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang turned to leave, Li Ruiyang hurriedly said, I want to do business with you. The corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly. Welcome. Go to that restaurant and wait for me. I'll be there soon, Li Ruiz said as he pointed at the restaurant across the street. Okay. Bailey Hongzhuang gave Linger a look, and the two of them walked toward the restaurant. When Li Ruiyang saw this, he hurriedly went to the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion and said goodbye to Li Ruiz. Then, he quickly left. Ruiyang, you're leaving already? Ruiyang? Li Ruiz was still shouting, but Li Ruiyang had already disappeared. Chapter 74-57. Seriously, this guy disappeared without saying anything clearly. Could it be that he met a girl he likes? When Elder Lu heard this, he couldn't help but look outside the door. Could it be that the two of them had such a relationship? In the restaurant, Bailey Hongzhuang ordered a pot of tea and looked calmly at Li Ruiz, who was rushing over. Li Ruiz slowed down and looked at the woman in front of him. His heart was full of doubts. I wonder what kind of business young Master Li wants to discuss with me. Bailey Hongzhuang poured a cup of tea and placed it in front of Li Ruiz with a faint smile on her face. After Li Ruiz sat down, he looked at the tea in front of him but didn't pick it up. Did you really do what happened last time? Young Master Li, do you think there's such a coincidence in this world? Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. Since you're already an immortal, if you still have ulcers in your mouth, then Qingjie is not qualified to be an immortal. Li Ruiz paused. He knew that the possibility was very small, but looking at the calm man in front of him, he was really puzzled. Then what's your relationship with Elder Lu? Elder Lu? Bailey Hongzhuang was startled, but her face still didn't change. This is my business, it has nothing to do with you. Why don't young Master Li tell me about the business you want to do first? Li Ruiyang couldn't help but feel a little regretful, but he also knew that the other party would definitely not tell him. You made the poison last time? Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Young Master Li needs poison? Li Ruiyang didn't frown. He wanted to directly find out the other party's relationship with the poison, but he didn't expect the other party to be watertight and not reveal any clues. Thinking about it, since the other party was related to Elder Lu, he probably wasn't a stupid person. It would be very difficult to get other information from here. I also want to do business with you and take Qingjie's life. Name a price. Li Ruiyang looked at Bailey Hongzhuang tentatively. He also wanted to know how capable the other party was. Since they could poison him, then they could poison him. It wouldn't be difficult for them to take his life. Bailey Hongzhuang's smile didn't change, but she declined politely. Young Master Li, Qingjie has some status, and it's not easy to ask for his life. You should be able to tell that I'm only doing this for fun. What can 1,000 blood spirit stones do? I just went to the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion and got these. The reason why I did that before was because I couldn't stand Qingjie insulting women. Hearing this, Li Ruiyang finally understood. He hadn't understood why the other party wanted 1,000 blood spirit stones if they were so capable. It turned out that they were just messing around. Only then would this matter be justified. However, he felt that it was a pity that the other party was unwilling to make a move and take Qingjie's life. Originally, killing Qingjie would have saved him a lot of trouble, so that he wouldn't encounter such a thing in the future. After all, they had done it themselves. Qingjie's big brother wouldn't sit idly by. If young Master Li needs poison, you can tell me. I've always been fair in my dealings, Bailey Hongzhuang said calmly. What kind of cultivator will your poison be effective on? Li Ruiyang was a little surprised. At their level of strength, ordinary poisons wouldn't be very effective. At the very least, it won't be a problem for someone like Qingjie. Li Ruiyang pondered for a moment. Qingjie was a second-rank cultivator. If it was effective on him, it meant that it was quite effective.